If it was going to be Carolina as the Bachelorette, I would be like, I'm not working on this show. When I saw the news and then saw last night's episode, I was like, maybe like Carolina was the only option, and they were like, let's just not do this anymore. Like I actually.
Let's wrap this up. Hello and welcome to the Betchelor Podcast. I'm Kay York City.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Kay York. How are we? How are we doing? What's going on? I'm coming to you. If you're watching on YouTube, which we would love to invite you guys to do, you can watch on the Betches YouTube channel. You can see that I am coming direct from Boca.
I can tell.
My parents' house.
There's some sun happening.
I got some sun. I got some color. Went to the beach. It is like beach day 10s all across the board here.
Love
it's
that.
so nice. How are you in LA?
We're good. I watched the Super Bowl last night. I'm assuming you did as well. It's still really
Watch
early
the Super
here.
Bowl. We have personal Kay York City news. We want to call out to the people, don't we? We want to do we want to let people know?
I
thought
we might as well.
you made a viral TikTok.
I did.
That's why I'm like I didn't ask you before we taped, but you did make a viral TikTok.
A fun fact, I just got laid off from my job. Devastating.
I'm very sorry.
Thanks. Honestly, it's been a rough 2025 so far. We're really not crushing it. At least
this is why we're talking about it now. We're gonna put the word out here so that maybe there's someone out here who's like, I gotta hire Kay York City.
I'm ready. Let's go. I made this TikTok just like, let me talk about it. I didn't cry. I almost cried. And I'm not one to like cry on the internet, but there was a moment where I was like, ooh, it might be happening. And it kind of blew up. It has like over 100,000 views. So like maybe something's going to happen out of this. Who knows? But if anybody's listening, I am out of a job, but I'm glad it's not The Bachelor because everybody was worried about that.
We had a lot of people contacting me, is The Bachelor over? I was like, is this a job? This is a job?
I know. I was like, oh no, this is I was talking about my actual like 9 to 5.
That's why we ask you guys to share this show so that we can make this like a huge deal.
Job.
Make this the job. So, okay, we're putting out all feelers. Kay's the best. As someone who's her coworker here on Betchelor, Enterprises, I can vouch for her as a great coworker.
Thanks, Jared.
We go to the Bachelor news desk. Huge Bachelor Nation news. The Bachelorette will skip its summer 2025 season and will pause production. What do you think, Kay?
I don't know because, I mean, we've never seen anything like this. The only time we've seen a pausing of production or a canceled show has been like a Paradise moment. Everything has been really focused on Paradise if something isn't happening. Right. Or like in the pandemic, they took a break before they started recording a new season of The Bachelor because of obviously the pandemic. But this, this caught me off guard. I was not expecting this. I don't know if it's something happened on set, if they've already recorded, because they haven't announced anybody to be the Bachelorette yet. So like, I don't know what the pausing of production means. Is it just like we're not prepping for this show right now or casting or what? What do you think?
I'm not positive of this. So according to Deadline, the network is pausing the show, which would typically start production in the coming months for a summer premiere date. There's people saying it can't compete with Love Island, which isn't like a reason to not do a show.
Love Island's on 5 days a week. Bachelor's only on 1 day a week.
I just think that's like the dumbest theory I've ever heard. Like the idea that like ABC's like, I guess we'll just stop this thing that makes us money.
Right.
Like the idea is that they're gonna have Bachelor in Paradise when they would have the Bachelorette. Is that kind of what people think is gonna happen?
I'm assuming that's what's gonna happen because we did hear a while ago that last season they took out Paradise so they could do the Golden Bachelorette. So and they did say that they were moving Paradise to 2025. So maybe this is Bachelor and then they're doing Bachelor in Paradise and then maybe they'll do another Golden or something. But skipping the Bachelorette is a big deal.
Big deal. It's a big deal. This is a franchise. This is a huge money-making show. You don't just normally stop with something that makes you money. Or it's not, selling to sponsors. That's another, thing that you could be out there. Here's the thing. My theory is that based on last night's episode, I mean, I'm like, maybe this iteration of the show just ain't it anymore.
Is dead. Grant season is a tough watch. It's just kind of.
And it's also bizarre. It's like a little weird what's going on in this season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if you stop a show because one bad season or one weird season, but like maybe they can't find. My theory, and this isn't nice, okay, is that when they do the Bachelor and Bachelorette, they usually like who they're gonna like do the show with,
right?
Like they, that seems to be who production really likes.
You want to,
and based on this season and who he's like whittling it down to. If it was going to be Carolina as the Bachelorette, I would be like, I'm not working on this show. Like, she is a tough watch in, like, kind of like the, like, difficult trope star way.
I agree.
She comes off, and again, we're watching through a screen and through editing and all that stuff. And I hate how bad this sounds, but, like, based on last night's episode and kind of how she's played it, she kind of gives off, like, child star energy.
Yes.
Like,
so does Zoe.
Annoying.
Her and Zoe are like
right
equal in that. I totally agree. Child star is the perfect way to put it.
Right. Like, oh my God, we're gonna have like someone get her out of her trailer, and then everyone's just like debating who has to deal with her that day. And I'm like, when I saw the news and then saw last night's episode, I was like, maybe like Carolina was the only option, and they were like, let's just not do this anymore. Like, I actually...
Let's wrap this up because we're running out of people to choose from. Because I think we kind of saw that when they chose Grant. It felt like it was out of nowhere. We didn't know anything about him.
Right.
He was announced prematurely. He didn't have his big moment on the after the final rose where he comes out and it's this, massive interview. It was just kind of like, yep. Our next Bachelor's here in the audience. He's sitting out next to the other Bachelor rejects.
Right.
Who are still
You're not
single.
sure if it's like laziness or like
what?
No one really wants to do this show anymore. I mean, to me, the show should be you, K. York. You should be the Bachelorette.
It's my time. I don't have a job right now. I might as well.
Right. Like, I have always said this, and it's like, and also like the age appropriateness of it all. Like, I just think. When you watch the Goldens and you're like, it's so sweet, and maybe it's a little bit more boring, but like that's the show kind of like a lot of people want is like this like ending that they go off and they become married and that's it. And I'm like, I'm watching last night and like, who amongst these people, like, do I even care about their love life? Like, I really don't. Like, I cared about Chloe, but I always said Bachelorette should be 35, the men should be in their 40s.
Yes. I agree, and I also think we're on episode 3. We should have at least one or two favorites or that we're rooting for at this point, or that we could see making it to the end, or that we're kind of invested in. And I'm struggling to find the investment in these women, or like remember their names individually, or their backstories, or want to even know more. I don't know what's up with this season.
Even Grant, like, it's not even just the women. Like, Grant, like, he doesn't have a backbone.
No.
He doesn't seem like...
No.
Like, it's just, you can tell, like, based on who he's weaning out, he's like, I want someone who's going to, like, basically tell me what to do and, like, have me, and I'll just become a husband.
He does not want to run the show. He wants... The wife who's going to do all the things, make all the decisions, have all the babies, and he's going to hang back and be like, don't worry, I got the Ferrari.
Right. Right. Just I'll drive the Ferrari. So let's go to the show. Well, I mean, like, a very weird episode as we get into, like, recapping. We start with he's going to do an investment talk. They're going to have fun with finance, which sounds like the last thing in the world anyone wants to do. And it's with our old friend Hannah Berner.
It is.
From Betches, a former Betches coworker of ours, and Daniel Lubetsky, who is the guy who founded Kind Bars. He's been on Shark Tank, so he's on an ABC property as well.
I've never seen him before. He was new for me.
He was on Shark Tank. He's been on a few episodes. He's got the kind bars. I follow him on Twitter, I think. And they're basically going to have, like, everyone on the date. This is where it started weird. It's like this early we're having a group date where it's, like, everyone. And then we're told, like, 2 women are going to get one-on-ones. Like, it's kind of a weird episode to be the 3rd episode, don't you think?
Something about this whole season is way off. He was apologizing last episode multiple times for saying different things, and now we're here in this new episode talking about finance. Is there nothing else?
I guess he works in finance. They play the Looking for a Guy in Finance song. He's like, I'm 6'4", I don't have blue eyes. Like, I'm like, I don't know. It was usually The Bachelor doesn't. It just, something was off, and I'm not sure if I was just like hungover watching, and I'm like,
they're scraping a bit.
12 people on a group date? Like, it felt like they were just trying to get the season over with.
They're like, let's just wrap this up, send some people home, let's make these girls mad, stress them out enough to send themselves home.
Right. And then they also don't seem to have control of what the game is, because now Hannah Berner is now the host of this show.
Oh, yeah. Completely.
She's making up rules to the who gets grant bucks. The whole premise is that they're going to give out dollars, grant bucks, to anyone who gets answers correctly. But then Hannah Berner just changes the game and is like, whoever has a funny answer that I like gets grant bucks.
I know. And so then, Bailey, I remember Bailey talking about, she was like, I'm changing my strategy. I'm making my answers so that Hannah likes them. And then she wins.
Right. And it's like, where's Jesse Palmer? Where's the, referee? What's going on? She wins like in a landslide, and you see like Zoe, who is annoying for this reason, but she's kind of right. She's like, I like rules. Like I like to know what the game I'm playing is. Right. Like I shouldn't have to figure out what the game is on the fly. It's like, who's running this right now?
I don't know. Hannah is the only one in charge right now, and I feel like she completely took over, which was fine. I think she's very funny, but it was so bizarre. The whole thing was bizarre.
And then they have this they have this challenge that's not a challenge, that Hannah Berner's making up the rules on the fly. And then at the end, they go to the date afterwards, and Bailey is presented with this like menu of like basically like
Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, Dave and Buster's with her tickets, and they're like, well, you can afford a rubber ball. Like, she can't afford anything.
No. I think, what did she make, like 800 grant bucks or something, or 8,000?
Right.
Something along those lines.
Which equals like 10 cents. Like, it didn't even, she's like, private jet to Italy. Oh, that's 3 million grant bucks. I guess I can't do it. And it's like, why even do this game? What is this all about?
Like, what was the number that you could actually get if you got all of these correct or won everything?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought the power suits was fun, to give them all power suits. I thought that was fun. It's all kind of bizarre. They go to the cocktail party. Bailey gets a menu for what she can afford. She can afford nothing. She picks dessert and one of Grant's T-shirts to sleep in. Like, and I'm like...
Hearing that as one of the options is like, we're in hell right now. The bar is...
Right.
We are in the bad place. This is the bad place version of The Bachelor. If what you're winning is not a shopping spree, but it's a old T-shirt of Grant's that probably has a hole in the armpit and stains that you can sleep in tonight.
It is actually kind of crazy. When they said like the T-shirt... when they were like, you can win a T-shirt of Grant's to sleep in, I was like, is this show like bringing back feminism? Like, I had that moment, because I was like, as if that's like something to aspire to. Like, what are we, 15?
Keep the T-shirt. Just let me go back to the cocktail party and have a drink.
Zoe is like crying about how she doesn't get a lot of attention. And none of the girls seem to, like, give a shit. Like, they're just like, get rid of this woman. Like, she's annoying.
I mean, she was the one who had taken him multiple times the night before, and then also during the day. And now she's like, I can't believe, like, all these other people got all this attention and I wasn't getting it. It just felt really uncomfortable. Why would they feel any type of like? It felt so crazy hearing her say that and telling these women, like venting to them, as if they were going to give a shit.
Right. She's like, I'm upset, and everyone's like,
Okay.
cool. Like there is like no
Now what?
even feedback. She's probably feeling very alone because like they're just like not into her. You made a play, then you defended the play. I mean, I will even say she commented on my TikTok and was like, she made a comment in the way that like an internet like person would make.
Was this during your live stream? Was this your live stream on TikTok?
One of my live stream videos, she commented something along the lines of like, this is what, because I was making fun of the fact that like she was kind of like taking over the event as we would, and then that she didn't really react really well, and then like, which is what we saw on TV, and she's like, this is what happens when people bully you, and like, you know, like basically saying like the other women were, but we watched what we watched. Like you, like
that's all we have is that context. So I don't know what she expects.
It was like it was strange to see that she was like still like offended TikTok commenter, as opposed to like person who's been on the show who like sees how we see it and like honestly like that's how you came off. Like I don't know. So it doesn't seem like she kind of, it feels like based on like that comment and like seeing how they react to her, like it doesn't feel like there's a lot of give to her, like as far as like going with the flow.
No, not at all. And I'm gonna shamelessly plug your live screens. If you haven't watched them, you got to watch the live screens because this is a prime example. The Bachelor contestants are in the comments.
I generally just have a fun time with the show, and when someone isn't into it, I'm like, I guess
that's on them.
You know, it's a little bit on them. I don't really, I'm not trying to be mean to anyone. Yeah, so like when I watch these women just like react to Zoe that way, I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see that. I get it. Right. And then we get to the end of the group date and Grant like calls everyone out.
The whole
thing was absolutely bizarre.
Very weird.
What was that?
So Zoe told Grant that she was feeling like the girls weren't being nice to her, that she was being bullied. And he was like, well, who was saying this? And she was like, I don't want to talk about that. And so he goes to the group and he was kind of like scolding them, but indirectly. And the vibe was really weird at the end of it.
Like, now, girls. Like, it was like, what?
Right.
Why are you like a sitcom dad right now? Like, it had no personal effect. It was just like a call out to like the heavens. He kind of cuts it short. It's on his way out. Like, he gives a rose to Paris and then he's like, and everyone be nice. I know something. Leave. Goodbye. And it's like, what's going on here? Like,
they were all weirded out at the end of it. The vibe in the room was like, what just happened? Why is he mad at me? Is he mad at us?
And the girls know it's Zoe, and Zoe's crying that they're all mean, but it's like, also Grant's kind of allowing for this person to have power here. Like, you're giving her the credibility of like, well, if she says it, then it's not even like he goes on a fact-finding mission. It's one thing to go, hey, so who's being mean to you? You won't say it? Okay, hey, let's all have a discussion. Like, can I just talk to let's bounce things off of each other. He doesn't do that. He wants no troubles. And he just says it out loud, and then he moves on with his day. The next morning, we get everyone kind of like dealing with the Zoe issue, and like everyone's just crying. Like, it's like,
I know, already.
And this is the moment where I'm like, maybe this age group, this generation, just doesn't want to do this show. This is when I put together the news of no Bachelorette with this season of the show. You're like, okay, we just wake up in a house of horrors. Everyone's crying. And they're like not even able to explain why they're crying.
They're getting bullied by other girls. They have these emotions. I mean, we saw last episode, Bailey was like uncontrollable tears. She was like, I want to stop crying, but I can't.
Right.
I think they're kind of over it. They've seen way too much at this point. They've seen our generation go on it. Now it's their turn, and they're like, wait a minute. Why are we doing this?
I think also Gen Z is like awkwardly in touch with feedback from the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Like, they know, like, I don't think they feel as in control as maybe another show like Love Island. There's a bunch of men that we can say are the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, like on a dating show where it's all women, it's like, because like we can say like on, you know, The Bachelorette, it's a bunch of men who like fuck these men. And I think like, especially on the internet, I think that there's this like pressure that you can never do anything wrong or be seen any, again, like with Zoe, like I'm fucking around with the show, I'm making fun of it, and she's like, that's what happens when a bunch of people don't care, like using buzzwords, using like therapy words, and it's like these are, you know, these words become weapons, and it's like I think that this whole house might just be aware of like that they're going to be weaponized against when they get off the show, and like
way too aware,
right?
And
when
then,
it doesn't matter,
too online, like you're seeing everything all the time, and we've gotten to this part in social media where it's not just like, oh, where people have like a group on Facebook, or there's, you know, you'll see like an Instagram post here or there. Now it's TikTok. Now it's videos. Now there's endless people reviewing everything. Now there's podcasts. It's like they're way too clocked in and logged in to what is going on with their own show.
Right. And if you're the bully, you get this like person doing a face to the camera video with your picture on the background.
Mm-hmm.
And this person who's in their sweats and in their like, you know, they're like horrific home being like, let me give you the tea on Zoe and how awful she was on the show. And you're like,
who are you?
Get away. Like, why are you making this like, we're not going to jail this woman. She was a dick. And that's it on the show. Like, I don't know. Like, and it feels like when you get into the house and like there's this fight and Grant's like, stop being mean, and doesn't give, no one knows who the bad guy is. So we're all the bad guy and we're all not doing well. And now it's like, I don't know. It felt like the walls were closing in on them.
The walls were closing in on him. I hope we get past this once we get down to the, you know, a smaller amount of women, but I don't know.
So we go on the one-on-one date with Carolina, and it's fine. They do kind of a repeat. Joan did this date on the Golden, right?
And they did like a bungee jumping kind of moment, but it wasn't bungee jumping. It was sort of just like a jump straight down.
It was no bungee. It was just
you just
lowered.
Land. You were just lowered to the ground. You were just lowered to the ground. You landed on your 2 feet. You were probably going like really slow, which I would have hated.
It was so awful that they were like, should we do that again to see if that's like better the second time? Like,
and my favorite part though is when they went to Dre's Beach Club.
What's Dre's Beach Club?
So in Vegas, it's like one of the like bars. They have one in the Jersey Shore, I believe. Instead of where all the people have like thrown up in the shallow end, you're putting like a table and chairs and some food and making it a date. I've been to that bar and that club blacked out. Like that's the last place that I want to go.
You're gonna
and
have a
like,
romantic dinner.
I guess if you don't know, it seems really awesome. But if you do know, you're like, ooh, jump scare.
I didn't have a relation to it, but I can understand that like this isn't where a date. You're if you know it, then
usually
you're not really blown away by the moment.
Right.
We go back to the house, and Beverly was supposed to have a one-on-one date, but she gets sick and has to leave the show entirely.
I know.
It's weird. Another weird thing to happen.
I don't know. Maybe I missed this. Maybe it like passed. But it kind of was brushed over a little bit. Like I don't think they made a big enough deal about it. But it was just like, well, Beverly had to leave, so I was like, wait, what?
The assumption is that she's very sick and has to go home and can't come back.
Yeah.
But when you brush over it and don't say like the level of sickness, we just have to assume that she kind of she wasn't into it. She like in my mind, again, there's anything can happen in the world of things happening, but like in my mind, the way it was played off, and I guess my brain went straight to this girl got a one-on-one rose, was like, I'm not that into him. I'm gonna go, and they were like, she's sick, so we're not gonna have a one-on-one. She's like, basically saying that it would be unfair of her to get the one-on-one, and she's like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. He obviously feels something for me that I don't feel for him, which is like a better. I kind of like wish that was said, but I guess they can't because like you have like this, Cinderella thing that you're trying to like pull off.
Yeah, and it also is kind of funny to think that she's like, well, he's clearly way too into me, babe. He still has like 10 girls, 12 girls there. We can go on the date and figure it out. I would make that same assumption as well about her just not being into it. Because, I mean, Chalk left, buried his mom, and then came back. She can't leave for a few days, get over, the flu or a cold, and then come back.
Well, this is what brings us back to, like, why is there no Bachelorette? Because you go... It Golden kind of like makes this show seem fraudulent almost. Like Golden kind of outs this show. Like you go, Chalk left for a dead mom. Like, and like he really wanted this. He really wanted to see how this could help his life. And like, it does feel like a lot of people here are just like, and again, this has always been the case. And that's kind of what I would assume is like, hey, let me take my vacation. I'll have fun and see if I meet someone great along the way. And it's like, I'm not sure if that satisfies anymore.
I don't think it does. I need Beverly to get on TikTok and give us an explanation.
They bring in a new date card as if nothing happened at all. And they're like,
I know.
We're going to have a 3-on-1 and it's going to be with two of the maybe most boring people in the house. Like we're going to have the two most serious people go on this 3-on-1 plus Serafina. Like Serafina seems fun. Serafina seems like a good time. Like
a little bit of drama with Serafina. She's
right.
Making jabs here and there, but still kind of level-headed about everything.
Right. I like Serafina, and she seems to get along with like the women in the house. And then they bring along Dina and Latia. And Dina and Latia feel like they're on a business trip. Like they're kind of like
Dina's very serious.
Very. And Latia had a nervous breakdown last episode because she might have to be on Bumble again. So, like...
Relatable.
So, these are two people who are, like... I don't know. So, they're, like, they bring the three of them to do this puppy date with Lisa Vanderpump. And did you know Lisa Vanderpump had a dog store?
Yes. If you are a Vanderpump person, what's happening here. Lisa Vanderpump is very much into, rescuing dogs, and that's like her passion is dogs. She has 1 million dogs at her home, but yeah, Vanderpump Dogs is her whole thing. But when I saw her on there, this scratched my brain in a very, very good way. This was like the best feeling, seeing The Bachelor and Bravo come together, because these are two of the like biggest shows on TV is like Vanderpump Rules and The Bachelor, and you put them together in one thing. I'm like, why haven't we done this before? Right.
It was a fun date to do as like if there were like 6 people there. There felt like there should have been a competition of some sort to like see who goes. They wash the dogs, they take pictures with the dogs, but then like suddenly Dina and Serafina are just sent home. Like
they're like, all right, you guys have had enough. Are you gonna adopt a dog or not? Get out of here.
It was kind of bizarre the way they just are like, we're home. Where's Latia? She gets the date. Oh how?
It's like why? How did that happen? How did that happen? I don't know. I there's a lot of plot holes missing in this. I want to know why Beverly left. I want to know why Latia just has the date. I want to know what's going on.
Right. So we go back to the house. Before we get to Latia's date, Carolina's complaining to the other women about how hard it is to come back from a one-on-one date to Vegas. She's complaining about how hard it is to come back from flying private to Vegas and having the whirlwind adventure of your dreams and to see Grant go off with 3 other women. Now to have the show happen.
Babe, and this is reality.
When you know what you're getting upset about is wrong. Like she goes, I know this is the show and I know I've earned a rose. And it's like, yeah, That's the show. You have to
Correct.
respect that there's other people who are trying to form a connection with him. Like, she acknowledges this is the world thing I've signed up for, but I'm still going to be annoying about it. And it's like, so you're choosing to ruin other people's nights, to kind of like rain on this whole parade for everybody.
She's like, I know I'm safe, but yes, you are.
Like, she's eye rolling her rose. Right.
I'm not buying
it's
this.
Just a little. It's a little bit like. It's a little bit. And again, like I was thinking before we started taping, I was like, I'm gonna sound bad, and maybe like, maybe I'm too old to comment on the show. But I was like, this feels like childish princess behavior.
Very much so. Very much so. I mean, when you mentioned her being like child star, this is exactly right. And the being aware of the fourth wall. So her even validating, I know I'm safe. I know I got my rose. I know this sounds stupid, but so yes.
Yeah. So then we go to Latia's date at City Hall. They're at like a library. I don't know why I know these are easier than going to a restaurant, I guess, to like tape.
I guess. Yeah,
go to Vanderpump Rules. Go to Vanderpump's restaurant.
Go to
She's
Sir.
got a restaurant. Yeah.
Bring him to Sir. Get those goat cheese balls.
Yes. There's a lot of sharing going on. What did you think of this date with Latia?
I really like Latia. I do think she is serious, but I think there is a big relatability with her. I just think she's just very likable in general. There's something about her and I think she has that kind of it factor glow about her. Like, I could see if there was an ex-Bachelorette, which we're not getting one. If I had to pick one, I could see her being an option.
Oh, I think she's beautiful. She's absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just super serious to me. Like, it's like I don't know. It's like,
but I don't know.
It's just like, to me, like, this feels like a business trip from her. You're a Mormon. So you a devout Mormon, as you describe in your opening episode. It's like, and this is where you're going on a TV show. You know, I don't know. Like, it just didn't fit for me. Like, I go,
something's off.
And it's like, and again, like, and Grant does like hearing someone say, like, and we kind of see him fall in love no matter where he goes, but he like does like hearing a woman say, I want to be a wife, a mother,
he loves it.
These are things he loves it. So like, if you're on a date saying those things, which Latia seems like that's like her like personality is like, I am here to lock it up. As then you're going to do well with him. She's kind of like a perfect match for him. He talks about his dad, the addiction, that the dad was super successful. And like, the mom was like kind of used as a scapegoat for his addiction. It's a very personal tale that is very nice, like that he's opening up. And it seems like she gets a rose.
As expected. I knew the second they pulled out the FaceTime with mom, I was like, oh, she's locked in for this week.
Then we get back to the house, and when you have like too long at the end of the episode that you're like, something's going to happen?
Yeah.
I'm like, there's like 30 minutes here. And I'm like, what's going to go down?
We've already been on like 15 different dates. What's next?
So then Carolina tells us that off camera, Rose told her that when Grant said he was dancing on stage with Carolina, he was thinking about Rose. Off camera?
We need everything on the record. So I don't know at what point they were off camera. No more off camera. No more sending Beverly home. No more wrapping up the date and giving it to Latia. And I need to know what's going on. I automatically thought, he probably did tell Rose that. I was like, I bet he did tell Rose that. But her bringing that up to Grant, Carolina bringing that up to Grant and kind of turning it into drama.
There's no talking between Rose and Carolina.
No.
It's just the way it comes up to Grant. I don't know. It just was weird for Carolina to not mention it anywhere else. Like,
no, not in an interview, like her in the moment interviews. Nowhere did she bring this up, but she brings it up to Grant. And again, with the whole guessing game thing, like if you're going to bring something up so I know
Right.
about this, you need to give me the details. No more, I don't want to say who said this. I don't want to
This
cause.
was the funniest
You've already
part.
caused the drama.
This was the funniest part of the show. I laughed hysterically at the idea that he's like, is it Dina? Is it Latia? He names like 18 other women who he obviously likes. Like he's like, and you see Carolina like, no, I this isn't how it was supposed to go. You can see when she's like, wait a minute, I don't want to hear all the women you have feelings for. Like,
Right.
Rose, he obviously doesn't really have much going with Rose, but
Yeah.
for him to bring her up absolutely last, she's like, another woman says that you were thinking of her while we were dancing, and he's like, was it the security guard with the fat ass that was outside? Because she was pretty hot too. You know, it was like
this question really, this thing backfired on her, and then all of a sudden, because then now I'm wondering, what have you said to Dina or to
Right.
Latia, to all these other girls that you thought had said something to her?
Right. So he pulls aside Rose and he says, that's not what I said to you. And it's like, when he sits with Rose, she pulls it back right away. So you
Immediately.
lied? Like, I don't understand.
I think Rose made it up.
Really?
I think Rose told Carolina this, and I don't think Grant actually ever said this, and I think she kind of was trying to save herself from looking like a complete liar. Like, yeah, I made that up totally, but like she was like, I thought I remembered you saying this. I thought you said this. He didn't say it. She's just trying to save herself because I mean the way she retracted was so quick. I don't believe that Grant. I do not believe that Grant said this to her, and I think she made this
adamant.
up. And I don't think she thought that Carolina was ever going to bring this up to him.
But how does that even come up in conversation? Like, oh, he was kind of thinking of me. He told me he was thinking of me when he was dancing with you. Like, it is such a weird lie.
It's a little spiteful thing. Like, she's probably jealous of Carolina's massive straddle makeout. And so she wanted to kind of like get back at her, make a little jab back, not thinking that it was going to get back to Grant. And then she'd have to be like, fuck, yeah, I lied. Oops. She didn't want to have to say that. So she was like, no, I thought you said that. He did not say that.
We are in like, I usually have an opinion on everything. When I watched that, I was like, am I in like Mean Girls land? Like, where am I? Like, it's like, this is above my pay grade. I kind of felt like I was like, like,
This is not
because I was like, she took it back so quick. Grant's like, I didn't say that. Like, he's mentioned 7 other women who he has more feelings for to Carolina. Carolina, to get back at Rose, tells Grant, like, is that how like awful Carolina is? Is that how awful Rose is? Is that, I don't know.
I think it does speak to the character of Carolina and Rose, mainly Rose, because she felt such a type of way about Carolina, which obviously we've mentioned is pretty annoying on this show, that Rose would make up something just to make Carolina feel some type of way, but not knowing that it would get back to Grant. The way Rose retracted the second he mentioned it, like the immediate that came out, because I thought you said that. It was so bizarre. She was caught dead in a lie, and so the only way to save her was to convince herself and him that she thought she heard it happen. That's what happens in all these like murder cases. Like, when you tell the lie enough, you end up believing it yourself sometimes too.
It is actually crazy. And honestly, like, I'm only left to assume that Carolina is like a monster to live with, for someone to like be pushed to lie to get her. Like,
I know.
And why do I believe this? It's not based on nothing. You came back from a private flight to Vegas and are complaining to the other women who didn't get that date. So I have to assume that you are tough to live with.
100%. 100%.
Wow. This episode, as weird as it was, like, it is actually, now the more we talk about it, the more I'm entertained by it.
Diabolical. The whole thing is crazy.
Besides the drama, we do have another group date, and it will be, and then they repeat the prom date at the mansion with the Golden Bachelor guys.
Yeah. Which I was like very happy to see them. I love Gary. We needed a little pick me up, I think, because everything was kind of going downhill, and seeing those guys was a nice little surprise, though I do think it just made the episode even weirder because why are they there?
Right. It's like all this drama swirling around, and like now we're like the prom date. Like we a little bit jumped over it to like talk about the Carolina thing, but like all these women don't like it here. They're not having a fun time, and then like Uncle Gary, Uncle Keith, all show up. And they're cooking burgers and being like, this is how you gotta cook a burger. It's like, shut the fuck up, Dad. I'm going through some shit here. Like,
yeah, like what? Why are you here? Are we dating now? Are you gonna pay for my rent? Who are you?
Why are these creepy uncles at our prom? So then we go to the rose ceremony, and it's kind of wild how we lose Chloe, who disappeared on this episode.
Right.
We lose Bailey Brown, who was a huge part of the beginning of the episode.
I know.
Wins all the Grant Bucks. And then we lose
wasn't
Allie
enough
Joe.
to stay on the show. Not enough
Right.
Grant Bucks to get you a rose.
Right. Oh, you can't afford the rose. Oh, sorry, Bailey.
Too bad.
And then Allie Joe, who was about to fight Zoe. We didn't even get our fight.
I was not expecting Allie Joe to leave, definitely, or Bailey. Chloe, I could see yes or no, but the other two, no, I was not expecting Bailey or Allie Joe.
Well, Chloe got a kiss and got a rose, and like, I don't know, it's just like nothing kind of like tracks. Like, I mean, Rose gets a rose for what? Lying? Like, you're going to keep a liar?
Was crazy. Rose staying after that, why would you keep her? That is like, she obviously made something up, started drama with another girl who brought it to your attention, and you're just going to be like, yeah, at least she apologized and she owned up to it.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to trust her. Like, you made up something that I said?
Completely.
Like, out of whole cloth? Like, I don't.
Off the rip. Just like plucked it out of thin air.
Out of thin air. So, like, and made it harder with the woman that I took on a private jet. Like, at the very least, like, I have more of a connection with this person you're lying to and trying to ruin the relationship with than you.
It's weird.
Very
I don't know
weird.
why you kept her. I don't know why you kept her at all.
Let's do the drama score. Okay, we're going to rank the drama. You're going to give a number of roses to this episode.
There we go.
How many roses out of 10 are you going to give this episode on the drama scale?
Based on drama, like a 6.57. Not too high, because we did have some drama, but it was more, there was a lot of internal drama. Like, Carolina was upset, complaining about, like, herself a lot, being like, now, it's hard to go on this date and then come back. And, like, I know that was very internal with her. Beverly leaving felt like an internal drama type thing because she left the show completely. Zoe, again, is feeling super insecure. There's not really drama except for the Rose and Carolina situation, which was insane, but not enough to give it more than like a 6.57.
I think you're right, but I think we're setting up for more drama. I mean, like, he sent home the personality in this house. Like, he sent home Chloe and Bailey Brown they breathe life into this.
And Allie Joe.
Allie Joe, too, to an extent.
Yeah.
She had friends. But when you look at the list of people left, Zoe, we got issues. Juliana seems to be friends with everybody and seems to be bubbly and fun. Alex, we say, is a star. Dina, super serious.
Serious.
We have Natalie. Now we've figured out Natalie is the blonde, who likes hanging with kids. And
she helped the girl because she got winded. She got the video sent to her from the little girl.
She seems to have gotten ready for dates like in 7 seconds. She puts her hair up very quickly, it seems.
Correct. Now I'm remembering. Yeah. It's all coming back to me.
Serafina, who's kind of like a little drama. She's got jabs in there.
She said that's the shortest skirt I've ever seen.
Oh my God, we forgot to talk about that. That is like mean.
That was crazy. She said that. I was like, oh.
On camera.
On camera. No shame. And she was like.
No shame.
And like, what about
very
it?
Comfortable. That's how Zoe's not well liked. She felt very comfortable to be like, look how short her dress is. Right, everyone? Don't we hate what she's wearing? And you're like, what?
I mean, 10 Toes Down said that. Like. She stood on business.
Rose, who's a pathological liar.
Yeah.
Latia, who's here on a business trip. And Carolina, who just wants everyone to be happy for her.
For her.
Winning
only.
this show. Mm-hmm. She wants these women to act like they're her bridesmaids at her wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the drama, I'm with you, around a 6. But we are now set up for, like, I think 10s. As much as we're sitting here, I think this is, like, maybe that's why, we're left to conspiracy theories.
This is a ticking time bomb.
We are left with a house full of drama, and it's what we want. So, to me, this is, we started this episode being like, I don't know if we even need a Bachelorette. And now I'm sitting here being like, I can't fucking wait for next week.
Reflecting back, we've only touched the surface of all of these things that we brought up.
Right.
The Rose situation, that's the shortest skirt I've ever seen. This is all going to come to a head here soon.
Right. He was like, hey, ladies, if you're like someone who's a team player and gets along with other women, there's the door. Get the fuck out. Because Chloe, Allie Joe, Bailey Brown, you're out of here.
Bailey, you're crying, but not for the right reasons. I need you.
Right.
I need you crying in their faces and talking shit to them.
Right. Bailey, I need you to make up something I said to
Completely.
Make another woman in the house angry. That's crazy.
He kept her. That's wild.
Based on what we know now, I would say the front runners to me are Latia and Carolina. They both got like most of the time on both of these episodes.
Those are two really big players in this game. Yeah.
Let's say it gets down to those two that he's deciding who he loves. Oh my fucking God. No wonder there's no Bachelorette. Someone's like gonna freak the fuck out. I could see Carolina or Latia
snap.
Flipping a table. I don't know. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, because what are you gonna have Carolina and Latia waiting in the limo, and then Latia figures out that she's not getting proposed to, and she has to get her phone back and re-download Bumble, and then Carolina finds out.
Freaks out.
Yeah, and then Carolina finds out. I could see Carolina committing a crime if this happens.
She is not handling this experience well. Well, we did it. Until next week, right?
Until next week. We'll be back next week. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Always On. You can watch this show now on the Betches YouTube channel. You can watch Jared and I live talk about this. So if you don't want to just listen to us, you can watch us. There might not be stuff on TV right now. You can turn us on.
You can see me in the most Boca home ever.
And you can follow me at K York City. And Jared, I know you're going to Australia soon. What else is going on?
It's coming. This weekend, I'm going to be in Alpharetta, Georgia. If you're in Alpharetta or the area, would love for you to come to the shows. And then I'm going to New Zealand. Sydney sold out. I sold out a show in Sydney. That's crazy.
Shut up.
Swear.
Let's go.
I just got a message that will there be more tickets? I don't know how it works there. So
Jared
Sydney,
Fried is global, you guys. Global.
Right. Galactic. So Newcastle, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth. I'm going to Auckland in New Zealand. That's where I'm going. So
wow.
Go check my calendar, jaredfree.com. I also added I think it's Rochester, New York when I come back, and Nashville. So those have been added. So jaredfree.com. And that's it.
See you next week.
The Betchelor Podcast is produced and edited by Jazz Zapatos. Social media by Candice Maniga and Samantha Bush. Guest booking by Shanice Kellman. Be sure to follow The Betchelor at @AlwaysOn.